Hi everyone and welcome to episode 6 of Fill in the Blink, where we fill you in on everything business and tech. I'm Neha and this is Hassan, and today we're going to talk about why brand building is important for restaurants.
All right, let's get started. So Neha, why is brand building important for restaurants?
So we can start by defining what brand building is exactly. So it's creating a unique and lasting image of your brand or your company or its products in the minds of your customers. So essentially, you're developing a strong, authentic sort of identity that resonates with your customers and makes them able to more engage with your company or product. So that just means that, certain elements or imagery of your brand becomes permanently associated with, the brand that you have in the minds of the customer.
All right, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. And especially when you come to restaurants, there are certain elements that resonate with the audience. So, for example, when you say Colonel, what do you think of?
So when you say Colonel and a restaurant, I mean, Colonel Sanders, KFC,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And similarly, you have Whopper and Burger King, the same association, Footlong and Subway. Exactly.
Anything with Mech is McDonald's. So,
exactly.
That's like why it's so important to have a brand that, people remember and engage with. And this is something that was actually, that really came out recently. So McDonald's in Chicago have the chicken sandwich, right? They don't use McCrispy, which is used in the rest of the market. So what they did was, a week ago, they changed from the chicken sandwich to McCrispy, and they made absolutely no difference to the actual product, right? So they just changed the name. But because of the association with the name or the brand name McCrispy, they saw a double-digit increase in sales in just like a month in that market. So, that really shows how important brands and brand building and, having that sort of association with your customers is when it comes to, especially restaurants.
Exactly, and from that example, like building a brand has a direct impact on your top line and eventually your bottom line as a restaurant. Yeah.
So even for small scale restaurants, it's really important to focus on brand building. So there are a few steps that you can take to ensure that you have a very strong brand. So number one is defining your brand. So under that you have what is your unique selling proposition. So what makes you stand out from your competitors and makes you stand out to your customers? Define your brand values. So that's essentially, making sure that you convey what you stand for to your audience, and also defining your brand voice. So how exactly do you communicate to your customers? What is your tone of voice? Are you friendly? Are you, more formal? Are you more nurturing? So just, defining what your brand is exactly.
All right. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. So once you've defined the brand, what comes next?
So after you define your brand, you need to understand who your audience is. So once you've understood that, you need to really know who they are so that you can, communicate to them, resonate with them, engage with them. You need to understand who they are, what they want, what motivates them, what their behaviors are, and just understand how they would engage with your brand.
Exactly. Yeah, I think understanding your audience is at the core of not just every restaurant but every business.
Brand,
And I think we have some relevant features that help our customers achieve just that.
Yeah, so we do. So we as Blink, we provide restaurants with the entire customer data that they have. So essentially, anybody that orders from our brand's website or application, they do get that data and they do get to use that to sort of understand their customers.
Yeah, and it's not just transactional data; it's also behavioral data. So someone might have opened your app but not placed an order. So as a brand, you can study that and come up with targeted campaigns to engage with your audience.
Exactly. So after you have understood your customers, it's also really important to develop a very distinct brand visual identity. Because when your customers interact with your brands, they need to, have that sort of memorability. So that includes your logo, your colors, your fonts, sort of elements that you're using that people can, at the end of the day, associate with your brand and make that sort of connection and remember it. And it's also important to make sure that it's very consistent. So it should be distinctive, memorable, and consistent, because if it's not consistent, people aren't going to remember it and associate your brand with that sort of those sort of elements.
Yes, exactly. So I think when it comes for a brand to stand out and show its true identity, I think Blink has developed some relevant features that helps brands achieve just that. In addition to multiple themes where you can choose your layout, how you want to differentiate yourself, let's say from a cafe or a quick service restaurant, etc. You can also choose your brand guidelines, your colors in your CTA buttons. So adding stuff to cart can be in your colors. Navigating through the menu, it can be in your colors, right? So investing in setting up your brand on your direct channels is very simple. We've made it very easy to use for our customers. A few clicks, drags and drops, and you're set. Once you're set defining your brand, what comes next, Neha?
So again, like after you have invested that time into developing a brand, making sure their visual identity is very different and memorable, it's important to then reach out to your customers and make them more aware. So that's where brand awareness comes in. That is essentially, everybody knows you go on different marketing channels, you do different tactics, some guerrilla marketing, some influencer marketing, social media, content marketing, all of that, just to get the word out, just to get, people to associate with your brand, engage with your brand. And, that's how you would, again, build that sort of awareness and spread the word about your brand. So that is also a very important part about brand building.
Exactly. Makes sense. Yes, and I think brand awareness includes both offline and online channels, and you have to double down on your efforts to make sure your brand is reaching the customers.
Exactly, making sure that people know about your brand. And once you have sort of put the word out about your brand, it's also very important to engage with your audience, because again, brand building is a two-way street. You don't just send the message out and then expect people to sit back and take in that message. You need to also have that sort of constant communication, constant engagement with your customers. So again, that also includes different ways of doing it. So you have like social media, you have SMS campaigns, email campaigns,
push notifications,
in-store sort of interactions with your customers. And Blink also does help our restaurant partners, sort of engage with their customers, their loyal customers and customers that are not so loyal. So we have like inbuilt SMS campaigns, email marketing campaigns, push notifications. We also talked about our growth module in our last episode. So again, there's so many ways that restaurants can engage with their customers and, sort of build that really strong connection with their customers and, have a really significant effect on their bottom line if they're able to do this.
All right. I think this was super helpful. I really enjoyed the whole journey of building a brand.
Yeah, I think it's really important for restaurants to make sure that they do sort of focus on the brand as opposed to, focus on just the operations, because again, if you have a good name, that is when your customers will keep coming back for more.
All right, so this was super helpful. Thank you for filling me in on this, Neha.
You're welcome. See you guys in the next episode.
All right.